on, guys? I hope everyone's having a great day. So the other day I did the SmackDown versus Raw ranking video. I ranked the whole SmackDown versus Raw, WWE SmackDown versus Raw series. So I'm going to be doing the same thing again today, except with the WWE 2K series. And on that last video, I was having some audio issues, and I don't know why it was like that. It didn't appear like that in the editing process. So I don't know why I sounded so quiet. Like you could hear and comprehend everything I was saying. It was just like it just sounded really quiet, and I don't understand why. So I'm hoping to have that ironed out this time. If you were able to stick it out, I applaud you. You're a fucking champ. But I want to go ahead and put a disclaimer in for this video that this might make some people upset, those of us that play wrestling games, because that's like 90% of what I play on my Xbox is WWE. Um, I'll dabble in some other games here and there, but I primarily play WWE, and I play a lot of or AEW Fight Forever too, even though I'm not a big AEW fan. But those of us, I'm just letting you guys know what kind of wrestling game, like wrestling fan, wrestling gamer that I am. So I want to go ahead and just say that 2K14 is not going to be on this list. And the reason why it's not going to be on this list is that it's not really a true 2K game. THQ pretty much did everything with the game. They built it from the ground up, and then 2K, they pretty much got the rights and just slapped their name right on the box. So really, 2K didn't really do anything with the game other than just put their logo on it. But how I actually feel about 2K14, if it were on this list, that 2K14 is a great wrestling game. I think, well, personally, I don't think it's better than SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, but I think it was like the last truly great wrestling game. Um, and if we're on this list, it would be in first place, but it's not because it wasn't really made with a development team through 2K. Okay, 2K only really, like I said, just slapped their logo on the box when it shipped. So that's really all 2K did with 14, and that's why it's not on this list. So it doesn't really have like the true 2K formula, which in a lot of ways that's a good thing. But now the 2K games I've enjoyed the 2K games minus a couple, which we'll get into when we actually get in the list. But I still prefer the SmackDown versus Raw series. Honestly, like I still prefer No Mercy on the Nintendo 64. I prefer the fucking Legends of Wrestling games over most of the 2K games. Even those games weren't even that great. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Okay, so we've got WWE 2K or excuse me, I mean 2K20. I was gonna say Buyer's Remorse, and honestly, that's probably a more accurate title for this game because I had never felt such a strong sense of buyer's remorse like I did when I paid $60 for this game when it first when it came out. Uh, I don't even. This is definitely without a doubt the worst wrestling game ever made. It is worse than Raw 1 and Raw 2. It is worse than WrestleMania 21. Yes, this game is worse than WrestleMania 21. It is worse than some of those WCW games. This is worse than ECW Hardcore Revolution and ECW Anarchy Rules. It's worse than WWF Warzone. It's worse than WWF Attitude. It is worse than all of those games. This honestly is in my top 5 worst video games of all time. So the thing that really pissed me off about this game is that from 2K15 to 2K18 and not 2K19, I was even though some of those 2K games aren't that great, I still managed to always find ways to have fun and be able to play them on a daily basis, almost on a daily basis, without getting tired of it. 2K20 it was when it launched, it was unplayable. The story mode would crash an hour into the fucking game for me on my Xbox One. It would at the time Xbox One, but yeah, it would crash. I couldn't have a match with any of my friends without the fucking ring fucking having a seizure. It literally looked like the ring was having a fucking seizure, and the ropes are just fucking flailing around like fucking spaghetti. And then you'd have wrestlers that just shoot up 60 feet in the fucking. It was unplayable. Then you'd fucking have the ref when he'd go down to count he'd be doing some fucking exorcist shit. Like, I was like, I don't know what kind of sorcery this kind of game holds, but holy shit, the game was unplayable. I just like when I played this game for like a week and I got rid of it. And I just went back to playing 2K19. And 2K19, that's what everybody did. Everybody said fuck 2K20. Nobody I know liked 2K20. Everybody just went back to 2K19. That's what I told people. I was like, you should just, if you're gonna play a WWE game, just keep playing 2K from last year. 2K20, and they made arbitrary changes. They changed the control schemes up some when it didn't need to, and it didn't work for this wrestling game, man. Like seriously, fuck, it didn't work. Nothing about this game worked. Nothing about it is good. It had zero redeeming qualities. I hate 2K20. I can't believe that the game shipped to the stores like that. That's all. I feel like the people behind making this game didn't know anything about wrestling. Didn't have never watched an episode of Monday Night Raw. Never watched an episode of NXT. Never watched fucking SmackDown. Never watched anything. Never watched any wrestling show. So yeah, this game is, I think, one of the worst video games ever fucking made. It's definitely the worst wrestling game ever made. Y'all, everybody can shit on 2K21. That game sucked. Or not 2K21, excuse me. WrestleMania 21. There was no 2K21. And this game is the reason why there was no 2K21. They took a year and a half off. Or they took two and a half years off, actually. Yeah, two and a half years off. That's why there was no 2K21. So yeah, there's no excuse for the game to ever ship to the stores like this. This game was embarrassing to all those that play WWE games. Absolutely fucking embarrassing. I hate 2K20. This is the only game in the 2K series that I strongly dislike. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, so we've got WWE 2K15. Okay, so I thought that this was one of the worst wrestling games ever made when it first came out. Um, I remember seeing the trailers for the game and the leaked images for the next gen versions on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at the time. That was next gen at the time. Uh, the graphics were beautiful, and that's one thing. That's one thing I forgot to mention about 2K20 is the graphics are awful in that game. Like graphics are not even something I get bent out of shape about, but 2K20s were awful. 2K15, I'll admit, is one of the best looking wrestling games I've ever met. I don't ever really get bent out of shape about graphics as long as the gameplay is fun. 2K20s were embarrassing, but 2K15, man, they really got the graphics. Like everything looked real at the time. I don't think they look as good as 2K22 or 2K23, but for the time, we're like, holy shit, this is like one of the best looking games I ever played. So I was really excited to fucking play 2K15, and when I got it, it was just kind of bare. Like there wasn't a whole lot of match types. The gameplay felt really sluggish. Matches always started out with the chain wrestling shit, and I don't think the developers for this game understood that not every fucking match in pro wrestling starts with chain wrestling. Okay, maybe a fucking Chris Benoit or a fucking Kurt Angle match would, but not like a fucking Jimmy and Jay Uso versus Goldust and Cody Rhodes. Like that doesn't start out with chain wrestling. But um, this game is better than 2K20. I will admit the gameplay still kind of had a lot of glitches. And I understood because it was on a new platform. Well, no. I'm gonna tell you this. I don't understand that at all. That's kind of a defense I heard, and in a way I can kind of understand. But another way, it's like that really doesn't excuse the fact that this game had a lot of glitches. So for a while, this was the worst 2K game I think. I mean, this and 2K14 were the only 2K games, and I don't really consider 2K14 a true 2K game, or else it would be on this list. And it would probably be number one because it's like I said, 2K14 is great. So going from 2K14 to this was just kind of. It was. This game is not. 2K15 is not a terrible game. It was just disappointing. We just expected a lot more from this game than what we got, and I kind of did the same thing with 2K15 as I did with 2K20, where with 2K20 I played it for a week and then I went back to playing 2K19. It's kind of the same thing what I did with 2K15 is that I freaking went back to playing 2K19. It wasn't the same thing. Like I remember when WWE 12 came out, I didn't stop playing 2K or 2000 WWE 12 and went back to playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I still played SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 and WWE 12. Um, I played them both equally as much. This like it's bad when you have to go back to an old game because the new game sucks. Um, but I actually replayed 2K15. I played a couple matches. I'm like, it wasn't that bad. Okay, it wasn't that bad. There's way worse wrestling games than 2K15. It was just very disappointing. Very, 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 very disappointing. Um, like the game, I just felt like the game was kind of broken when it came out. Graphics looked great. Uh, just the gameplay felt didn't feel it didn't feel like next gen gameplay. It looked like a next gen game. It didn't feel like a next gen game. And I know people that played the last gen version, which was on 360 and PS3. They just played that version. I played that version. I was like, this version plays a little bit better than the Xbox One and PS4 version, and it did. It played just like WWE 2K14. So, yeah, but I'm talking about the Xbox One version of this game. So, yeah, this game was just really disappointing. Definitely better than 2K20. The showcase mode was good too. CM Punk and all, or yeah, was it CM Punk? I think it was, or no, was it John Cena? I can't remember. It was one of the two. But yeah, no, 2K15 is just a very disappointing game. All right, so we've got WWE 2K Battlegrounds. I wouldn't even really put it over 2K15. Probably just tied with 2K15. Not really much to say about this. It kind of just copied WWE All Stars, and WWE All Stars is a way better game than this. This kind of came out this came out when 2K21 should have come out. They didn't, like I said, didn't do 2K21 because they needed the time off to recover from the blunt object to the head known as 2K20. So yeah, they kind of gave us this to tide us over, and I'll admit it was fun for maybe about 45 minutes, and then I was kind of over it. The alligator thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like when I play a wrestling game, alligators aren't usually. I would think most wrestling matches I've seen, unless we're talking about alligator wrestling, alligators don't really play a huge factor into wrestling matches and wrestling decisions and booking decisions and whatnot. So the alligator thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I get it; it was a cheesy, gimmicky arcade game that was, like I said, fun for about 45 minutes, and then when I played a few matches, I was like, all right, I'll go back and play 2K19 now because I refuse to touch 2K20 again. So yeah, not really much to say here. It's basically just WWE All Stars, except not as good. It's just tied with 2K15 as just being disappointing, I guess. This could have been something really fun, and it was really fun for about 45 minutes, and then I was over it. So, yeah, not much to say about Battlegrounds. All right, so we got 2K17 with Brock Lesnar on the cover. Now, this one and the one that's coming after this, really, you could switch them around, and uh, really, it really wouldn't be that much of an issue if you switched them around. If you like the one that's coming after this one better than this one, I could understand. This one's just the most 2K17 is just the most okay wrestling game I've ever played. Like it's not a bad wrestling game, but it was very underwhelming. And this is kind of where they started getting restrictive with all the shit you could do. Like with ladders and tables, and it was hard to fucking slam people on steel steps. SmackDown versus Raw 2011 had that. If you played TLC matches in SmackDown versus Raw 2011, if you're a wrestling fan, you've lived if you've done that. It was just like, I don't know, this game just felt very bland to me. The graphics looked good, the lighting and all that was really good. Um, it looked great. 2K17 just didn't do anything for me really. Like I don't even really remember 2K17. I kind of I kind of didn't really much I spent some time on 2K17. I remember just being like it wasn't so bad. Like this game wasn't so bad that I had to go back and play 2K16. This game is just underwhelming, and it's really I think this is one of the most forgettable ones for me. It just like I really, to be honest with you, I couldn't really tell you much details about it other than the graphics looked good, the lighting were good. It just wasn't fun to play like Extreme Rules or ladder matches or TLC matches because it was just so restrictive. It's like they took that fun factor out of it. Like in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, you could go fight. I don't want to say you could fight in the crowd, but it's this area located in the crowd that you could climb up a speaker system and fucking fling your body off of it, go through two fucking tables. You could do that in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. You couldn't do anything like that in 2K17. And it's like that, like we're seriously at this point in the next gen 2K series, and we still can't do anything like that. They kind of gave us that back in 2K. Was it 2K22 or 2K20? No. They added that in somewhere where you could go fight in the crowd. Was it this game or was it 2K18? You could do that. Fuck, man, I don't remember that much about 2K17. I just really don't. Other than it looked good. This I think was definitely out of this and 2K16. I think this one looked a lot better. So I will give it that. It's not a bad game. It's just a very forgettable one. I would put it over the other three games that I put it over because at least it was playable. At least you could have matches and it not crash every goddamn time. So 2K17 definitely gets some points for that. So that's why it's where it's at. All right, so we got 2K18, and like I said, you can make a case for 2K17 being over 2K18 as well. I wouldn't personally put it like that, but I don't remember you being able to go and fight in the crowd like you could in 2K17. I could be very wrong. I think this is the game where they started that. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But the gameplay, I don't like. Okay, I don't think the graphics looked as good as 2K17, and I don't think the lighting was as good on for the arenas, but the gameplay was really smooth in 2K18. Unless you played on Nintendo Switch, then you were fucking screwed. If you were if you're a wrestling game, Mark, and you all you have is Nintendo Switch, you got 2K18, and it's a miserable experience on Nintendo Switch. But on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, or if you play on PS5 and Xbox Series X, like I play on Series X, it's a good experience. It's not like an experience that'll blow you away, but 2K18 is a good wrestling game. Better than 2K17, way better than 2K20, better than 2K15. It's all right. It wasn't bad. I got it the day it came out, and I almost did. I remember I was doing this channel at the time, and I think I almost came on here and did a review of it. But then I thought, well, I'm building a horror movie fan base here, or horror movie fan audience, rather. So they probably don't give a shit about wrestling anyway. But 2K18 was good. I actually put a review on it on Facebook. I typed out a review and all that. And I gave it a good review. I just, you know, it's that slow pace simulation style that I like from time to time, but I also like the arcadiness of like SmackDown versus Raw '06 or '07 or even '08. Um, I like to have fun playing a video game, and I get in the mood for that simulation style. And 2K18 definitely scratched that itch when it first came out, but it definitely is a good wrestling game. It's not one of the greatest ever, but it's good. It's fine. I gave it like a 6 out of 10. That's a good score. I was having some issues with bugs. I don't know about anybody else that was. I personally was. But it was fun. It was fun. Universe mode was fun. I'm not the biggest universe mode fan in the world. I'm more of a GM mode guy. But 2K18 definitely is a good wrestling game. I gave it a thumbs up, a good score, a positive score. Anything over 5 and 10 or five out of 10, in my opinion, is a positive rating. So I gave it a 6 out of 10. That's a positive score. It had some issues, but had had a little bit more issues that. But the with 2K18, the good outweighs the bad. So the only thing I liked about 2K17 better was that it looked better. That's about it. This game is definitely better than 2K17. All right, so we've got WWE 2K22, and I'm going to be talking about the Series X version, even though it's not really any different than the Xbox One version. I just now realized I got a picture of the Xbox One version, but who cares? So 2K22, I think is actually a good game. I thought it was a good game when it came out. I played the open beta or the testing thing, whatever the fuck it was, and I actually had fun playing this game. They brought GM mode back, though it really wasn't like GM mode from SmackDown versus Raw '06, '07, or '08. I mean, it didn't really. I didn't play too much of GM mode. I didn't like how restrictive it was. The gameplay was a lot smoother here than it was in 2K20 and 2K. I want to say like 2K17 and whatnot. Game wasn't as it kind of took you off the leash and got rid of some of those restrictive things, like you could fucking you could like set up ladders places, which I think you could do that in 2K18 as well. I got all these games. I probably should have played them before, like all of them for a little bit, but then I'd have to download them all on my Xbox. That'd take fucking forever, yada yada. I didn't feel like doing all that, but I have very, very, very recent memory of 2K22, and I remember it being good. Universe mode was a little bit weird too. I had to take full control over my universe mode to make it the way I wanted to go. And one thing I really don't like about universe mode, just in general, is that it books the shows for you, and then you have to fucking, if you don't if you don't want fucking Roman Reigns going against Brock Lesnar 20 times before a fucking pay per view, then you have to edit it. I was like, I wish you'd just let us start from scratch and just book our own shows instead of having to delete matches, yada yada. Um, So yeah, 2K22. Oh, and 2K22, what I definitely didn't like is they got rid of the promos and shit in universe mode. I didn't like that. Like, you used to be able to come out and cut a promo in 2K19, and it helped you build rivalries, build storylines. 2K22 got rid of that, and all you did was just play matches, and it kind of ruined universe mode. But the saving grace for 2K22 was the gameplay. The gameplay was freaking smooth. I loved the gameplay for 2K22. I thought it was great. I was like, this is a good wrestling game that could have been a great one. And unfortunately, it's just a good one. 2K22. So 2K23, man, I've really enjoyed 2K23 this year. Universe mode's a lot better. They made some improvements to GM mode, though it's still not what it was years ago. So I'm not really gonna touch GM mode until it's up to the quality of SmackDown vs. Raw 06, 07, and 08. But 2K23 has been good. The showcase mode sucked. I forgot to mention that in 2K22. The showcase was good in 2K22. The showcase mode here in 2K23, it was not good at all. And what I didn't like about the showcase mode is that normally, like in the showcase mode, is when you have like the wrestler who's normally on the cover of the game. You take them through, they take you through history, and you relive some of their greatest matches, and you usually get to play as the wrestler. Well, in this showcase mode, you get to play against John Cena, and it's not like they take you off the leash and just let you wrestle and have fun like the ECW one night stand match with Rob Van Dam. You can't just have fun. No, you have to literally copy every single move that was made in the real life match verbatim in the GM mode, or not the fucking GM mode, the showcase mode match. You had to do that, and then when you had to do Roman versus John, you had to do the squash match of Undertaker versus John at WrestleMania 34. You had to do the AJ Styles versus John SummerSlam 2016. I think it was 2016. So 2016, 2017. They wrestled at SummerSlam. Fucking can't remember. Um, yeah, you had to freaking copy the moves. Bear in mind, you're playing as the opponent, but you had to copy it verbatim. I don't know who that was that just pulled in my driveway, but yeah, that was not expected today. Anyway, yeah, no, it was so stupid. It's like why can't I just wrestle and have fun? Like, why do we have to copy it verbatim? And you have to do it verbatim, or you won't unlock Rob Van Dam. You won't unlock all the different iterations of John Cena throughout the years. You won't unlock if you want the '08 Night of Champions Triple H, you have to do everything that frickin' John or Triple H did in the real match. You have to copy the whole match verbatim. It's so dumb. But I gotta admit, the story mode was good. Okay, and there's two different ones. There's one where you get to play as a male and one as a female wrestler, and they were both good. They were both really fun. I like creating my own wrestlers. It was better here than it was in 2K22. Definitely better than 2K20 by miles, like miles better than 2K20. Um, that being said, 2K22 or 23 rather was good. Oh yeah, they put war games in here. They really should have had war games in the last game, but war games is a lot of fun. Where you have the two rings and there's the big cage around it, and it's just anything fucking goes. Yeah, man, I have fun playing war games. Like my fucking when I in my universe mode, my Survivor Series War Games mode and NXT War Games shows were fucking stacked. Not with War Games matches. I saved the male. I did a female one at the beginning, and then I did a male one for the main event, and I did one in the middle too for mid card guys and whatnot, just for fun. I did it like my format was SmackDown versus Raw, and I think SmackDown won at my Survivor Series overall. I think they won, which that's kind of why I like Survivor Series. It was all SmackDown versus Raw. It was great. Um, yeah, War Games mode is definitely. I think the game's worth it. I think if you're just interested in playing War Games mode, pick it up on sale for like 20 or 30 bucks. But yeah, 2K23 was good. It had some things I didn't like, but it's good, and I still play it. I play it like daily. But yeah, 2K23 is pretty high up on my list. All right, WWE 2K16 is next. I actually always really spoke highly of 2K16. I think it had way better gameplay than 2K15. Not better than 2K14, even though, like I said, 2K14, I'm not counting 2K14 because that's not a true 2K game. But this kind of took what 2K15 did right, and they doubled down on everything that 2K15 did right. Um, there was a couple issues I had with glitches. I remember when this game came out, there was a couple issues I had with glitches, but at the same time, the gameplay was just so much better. It was pretty much if 2K15 was good. Okay, this is okay. When I remember when 2K15 came out, this is the game I was hoping we were getting with 2K15. So, like this game had a lot more depth to the match types. The roster was much better. Like that was one thing about 2K15. The roster was small as shit. Um, not enough wrestlers at all. And if you pre-ordered, you got Sting, and that's about it. Um, yeah, no, 2K16 is literally if 2K15 was great. And I don't want to say 2K16 was great, but I want to say it was there's some of these games are good. This game I think was really good, but not great. It was still plagued with some of those problems that 2K15 possessed. The showcase mode here was really good with Stone Cold on the cover, so you got to do some Attitude Era shit. And I guess if you I guess if you had an attachment to the Attitude Era growing up, then that really meant a lot to you. I didn't, I didn't grow up during the Attitude Era. I didn't. I grew up during the Ruthless Aggression era, which was the era after. So I would like to see a WWE game where there's more Ruthless Aggression era shit, honestly, because that was my era. But definitely, this game was definitely geared towards fans of the Attitude Era. So that alone is pretty good, and the fact that the gameplay was actually good and there was more than fucking like 10 match types. This game was good. The gameplay was nice and smooth. Like this kind of still carried on what SmackDown versus Raw 2011 did with the fucking ladder matches and the Extreme Rules matches and all that shit. You could do all that wild shit. So they kept that for 2K16 before they just stripped it down in 2K17. So that's why I'll always really appreciate 2K16. All right, and the best for the 2K games, not including 2K14, is 2K19. This is literally the game that the 2K community, WWE 2K community kept playing when 2K20 came out because of how awful it was. This game got us through a lot of years of us wanting to play wrestling games because nobody wanted to touch 2K20. Okay, 2K20 was literally AIDS to the fucking wrestling game community. 2K19 was just there. It was the shining star of the fucking 2K series. And I think it's very fitting because AJ Styles is on the front of it, and I think AJ Styles is a fantastic wrestler. And he's for a while in WWE, I think he was like one of the hottest stars in WWE. So it was only fitting for AJ Styles to be on this game, on the cover of this game. Wasn't very fitting, however, for Roman Reigns to be on the 2K20 cover, considering that he is the guy in the WWE, the top guy that they literally can't find anybody on the roster nowadays to dethrone that they think is worthy to dethrone him, and yet he was on the cover of that horrible fucking game. So it's kind of nice that AJ Styles is on the cover of this really great game, and I still kind of fuck with this game, dude. Like 2K22 and 2K23 were great. Don't get me, or they weren't great, but they were good. Don't get me wrong. But 2K19, I think is don't want to say it's great. It's really good. 2K like I would have shit, then bad, then no, I would say have shit, garbage, bad, mediocre, which is kind of meh, to all right, to good, to really good, to great. This game is really good. I wouldn't say it's great. It's not SmackDown vs. Raw '07, SmackDown vs. Raw '06, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. It's not, No Mercy or Day of Reckoning 2 good or Here Comes the Pain or Shut Your Mouth good, but it's pretty good. If I had like a top 20 wrestling game list, it would probably be number 20. And that's a good thing because there's a lot of bad wrestling games out there. Um, the universe mode, like I said earlier, you could cut promos in this universe mode, and I think you could do it in 2K18, and I think you could on 17 as well. Maybe on 16 you could. I can't remember. I can't think back that far. But yeah, you could come out, cut promos, build storylines in the universe mode. The universe mode I think was the best in the 2K series. Not the best in the WWE games because WWE 12 kind of had the best universe mode in my opinion, but 2K19 out of the 2K games had the best universe mode. It had the deep, like there was just so much depth to the universe mode. So I really don't have a lot to complain about with 2K19. I didn't have any experiences with glitches. The game looked good. The gameplay was nice and smooth. Really, not a lot to complain about with 2K19. Really, in all truthfulness. Um, this game had Jeff Hardy in it too, and it's always fun to play as Jeff Hardy in any wrestling game. Showcase mode. I don't think I played the showcase mode on 2K19. I think I just got so sucked into fucking universe mode that it was actually pretty good for a change that I kind of just skipped over showcase mode, but everything else is really good about 2K19. So that will conclude my WWE 2K ranking list. So I hope this one kind of turned out better than the SmackDown vs. Raw one. Hopefully not as much audio issues. If it does, I'm sorry. I had a long morning at work, so I'm really tired. And like I said, I'm sorry. So if you guys enjoyed the video, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'm out. Peace.